Okay. So I actually have a whole bunch of these to do. Gonna see me wearing the same outfit for quite a while, because I have like almost 60 of these blog entries. I totally need to catch up on and actually post, so and don't hate on the fact that I'm wearing the same outfit in so many of the first ones. Alright. This one's called Pain is a Motivator. I was thinking about pain. I've vented before about its presence and impact on our lives, but I neglected an aspect of its effect that I feel is important. Pain motivates us to change things in an attempt to remove its presence. For those of us who procrastinate, sometimes pain is the only impetus that seems to change our patterns. It's like how I can tell myself over and over that I need to set up a dentist appointment, but then somehow I fail to actually do so. Then I get a toothache, and I'm totally on that shit. It's like things that aren't high priority are removed from conscious thought until pain moves them to the forefront. I generally think of pain as bad. I think most of us do. But pain is a sign that maintenance has not been kept up. Something is broken, or something has changed inside of us. Pain is a warning system. When we feel pain, it means that changes are needed to prevent it from worsening and to mitigate its existence. We shouldn't ignore pain in any of its forms. All types of pain are something requesting our attention and needing to be handled. Why is it that we ignore pain? Is it because we fear the breakdown of our bodies and avoid acknowledging it in hopes it will go away? Pain without a known reason often triggers that background awareness of our fear of death, even if we don't often talk about it as such. I understand fearing bad news, but if we wait to address it, we're only hurting ourselves. For years I've been poor, waiting for those times when I could finally get insurance that actually covered the needs my child and I had been putting off because we couldn't afford to take care of them without its help. When we got good insurance, I would rush to get all the things handled as quickly as possible while it lasted. I would save my child tax credit money for the bills and things I wasn't able to buy on my paychecks, and we would finally be okay and caught up for a bit. If I couldn't afford all our needs, we would have to prioritize and put things off for a later time. I don't know how many of you find yourselves in a situation resembling my own. How many times we put off our own care to take care of the needs of our loved ones. How often we waste that little bit of extra just so we don't feel so poor for a moment. We want those we care about to have nice things, to feel that they aren't so different from everyone else. We stretch ourselves so thin in an attempt to appear normal. We can't afford dental care, but our kids have smartphones. We can't afford counselors to assist with balancing their mental health in this toxic environment, but we manage to eat nice foods at overpriced restaurants. Keeping up with the Joneses has afflicted our whole society. Our kids expect us to meet societal minimums, and everyone around us is doing the same. The mass propaganda that this is the normal way of things has caused us to not even notice the trap into which we've fallen as a nation. Financial hardship is certainly a kind of pain that we don't always recognize. Mental health is also neglected, as the way it presents is not something we often associate as a type of pain. We teach kids to differentiate between placement of physical pain to determine severity and probable cause. Why don't we teach kids to recognize other kinds of pain and treat those as important too? Kids tell us the only way they know how, and it almost always starts the same way. I don't feel good. From there, we ask determining questions. We aren't doctors. We're working from our own experiences and observations, and we backtrack to figure out likely causes. Basic self-diagnosis is ingrained in us along with pattern recognition, but it shouldn't just be for physical issues. When our kids feel a nervous tummy from anxiety about a new situation or the chill of fear at something they don't know how to face, we don't seem to teach them how to handle that side. It's not pain, so it's not valued the same and doesn't receive the same attention. So they're left to deal with it by observing how others are dealing, what the TV is showing. What if instead we explain that this physical reaction, as a result of these thoughts and emotions, relates to this portion of the brain, And these are the warning signs that we need to know to talk about when we experience them. I feel that this type of learning should be incorporated into our education systems, to be honest. Basically, I wish preschool was actually the initial training ground for learning to know yourself and establishing healthy patterns. Teachers explaining morality, hygiene, communication, self awareness, yoga, the value of exercise and diet, and so much more. Self awareness to establish self confidence. Instead, we program them even earlier to follow these same broken patterns we ask the rest of us to adhere to, and we know they don't work. We've seen how the kids are turning out, emotionally damaged and struggling to establish interpersonal relationships, so many experiencing abuse or neglect, depressed and anxious, sexually active at earlier and earlier ages, mimicking without understanding. This is the life we've chosen for them? I reject this. Unfortunately, the problem is so big that it's hard to see outside of the parameters of the situation to see the possibility for new patterns with different outcomes. The way things are is so indoctrinated in our culture, but it's wrong. We are all operating on a series of assumptions and patterns of behavior, but they're all just based on ideas. The concepts that shape our society are just words that we have chosen to follow, and it's time to find new ones. Just because the problem is massive doesn't mean it's insurmountable. It just means it's not something one person can fix. It took all of us to allow ourselves to fall this far, so it will take all of us to dig ourselves back out. Kids long for love. They will forgive us for our failures if we acknowledge them and work to resolve them together. This is not the future I want to see. This is not the life I want my child to have to live. This is not the kind of pain I'm willing to accept them to have to manage. So let's change it.